Another day, another story. Welcome to our YouTube channel, where we delve into the fascinating history of ancient Egypt. In this video, we will explore the reign of Pharaoh Anedjib, a ruler of the First Dynasty of Egypt. Despite the limited available information, Enezib's reign offers intriguing insights into the early development of Egyptian civilization. Join us as we uncover the enigmatic achievements of this ancient pharaoh. Pharaoh Anedjib. Enezib, also known as Adjib or Enezib, was an ancient Egyptian pharaoh who ruled during the First Dynasty of Egypt. His reign is estimated to have occurred around 29th century BCE, although there is some uncertainty regarding the exact dates. Enezib is mentioned in the archaeological records, such as the Palermo Stone and the Abydos King List, which provide information about the early kings of Egypt. However, there are few surviving artifacts or inscriptions directly attributed to him, which makes it challenging to reconstruct the details of his reign and accomplishments. According to some Egyptologists, Enezib might have been one of the earliest rulers to have their tomb at the royal necropolis of Abydos. There is also a theory that he may have extended the influence of Egypt to the Sinai Peninsula. However, due to the limited evidence available, these claims remain speculative. Overall, while Enezib is known to Egyptologists as one of the early pharaohs of Egypt, much about his reign and accomplishments still remains a subject of debate and further research. The meaning of Pharaoh Anedjib's name is not entirely clear, as ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs can have multiple interpretations and linguistic nuances. The name Enezib is written in hieroglyphs as Enezib or Enetjib, and its exact meaning has been a matter of scholarly debate. One proposed interpretation suggests that Enezib may mean protected by Jib, with Jib being a possible personal deity or divine element associated with the pharaoh. Another possibility is that Enezib could mean he who endures like his heart, where En refers to like or similar to, and Edjib means endure or remain. The name Enezib is often associated with the Horus name of Pharaoh Anedjib. In ancient Egyptian royal titulary, pharaohs typically had multiple names, including the Horus name, the Nebeti name, and the Golden Horus name, among others. The Horus name was an important aspect of the pharaoh's titulary and represented their connection to the falcon-headed deity Horus, who was one of the most significant gods in the ancient Egyptian pantheon. The Horus name was written within a surek, a rectangular frame that enclosed the name and was surmounted by the representation of a falcon, symbolizing Horus. It is important to note that the interpretation of ancient Egyptian names and language relies on the context and knowledge available to Egyptologists. Given the limited surviving evidence and the complexity of the ancient Egyptian language, there may be alternative interpretations or nuances that have yet to be fully understood or agreed upon by scholars. Information regarding the birth and early life of Pharaoh Anedjib is not well documented, and there are no specific historical records or inscriptions that provide details about his birth or early years. The early dynastic period of ancient Egypt is generally characterized by limited historical information, as written records from that time are scarce. In many cases, the birth and upbringing of ancient Egyptian pharaohs were not extensively recorded or emphasized in historical texts. The focus tended to be more on the pharaoh's reign and accomplishments rather than their personal background. As a result, there is a lack of specific information about the birth and early life of Pharaoh Anedjib. The available historical records primarily focus on the pharaoh's accession to the throne, reign, and any notable achievements or events that occurred during their rule. Thus, the birth and early life of Enezib remain largely unknown, and specific details regarding his upbringing and family background are not currently available to historians and Egyptologists. The precise date of Pharaoh Anedjib's birth is not known. The First Dynasty of Egypt, during which Enezib ruled, is estimated to have existed from around 3100 BCE to 2890 BCE. Within that period, the exact dates for individual pharaohs, including Enezib, are uncertain and subject to ongoing research and discussion among Egyptologists. The lack of detailed historical records and the difficulty in accurately dating events from this early period of ancient Egyptian history make it challenging to determine the specific year of Enezib's birth. The available information is limited primarily to the duration of his reign rather than his personal life or birth date. It's important to note that the chronology of the early dynastic period of Egypt is still a topic of scholarly debate, and various theories and dating systems have been proposed. As new archaeological discoveries and research continue to shed light on this era, our understanding of the birth and reign of Pharaoh Anedjib may evolve over time. The parentage of Pharaoh Anedjib is not definitively known due to the limited available historical records from the early dynastic period of ancient Egypt. The lack of specific information about his family lineage makes it challenging to determine his father and mother with certainty. Ancient Egyptian pharaohs typically came from royal or noble families, and the throne was often passed down through the male lineage. However, in the case of Enezib, there is insufficient evidence to establish his direct familial connections. Some Egyptologists have proposed that Enezib might have been the son of Pharaoh Den, who ruled just prior to Enedjib's reign. This hypothesis is speculative, and no concrete evidence has been discovered to confirm it. The family and immediate relatives of Pharaoh Anedjib are not known with certainty due to the limited historical records from the early dynastic period of ancient Egypt. There is a lack of specific information regarding his familial relationships, including his spouse, children, or siblings. As mentioned earlier, some Egyptologists have proposed that Enezib may have been the son of Pharaoh Den, based on a potential succession pattern. This hypothesis is speculative and not confirmed by concrete evidence. The exact duration of Pharaoh Anedjib's rule is uncertain and subject to scholarly debate among Egyptologists. The available historical records and sources from the early dynastic period of Egypt are limited, making it challenging to determine precise reign lengths for many pharaohs of that era. Various estimates have been proposed regarding the length of Enedjib's reign, ranging from a few years to over 2 decades. Some sources suggest a shorter reign of around 5 to 10 years, while others propose a longer reign of approximately 26 years. These estimations are based on interpretations of incomplete and sometimes conflicting historical evidence. It is worth noting that the Abydos King List, an ancient Egyptian document that lists the pharaohs of Egypt, assigns a reign length of 74 years to Enezib. However, this duration is generally considered exaggerated and unlikely to reflect the actual length of his rule. In summary, due to the limited available information and the challenges of dating events from the early dynastic period, the precise duration of Pharaoh Anedjib's reign remains uncertain. Ongoing research and future discoveries may contribute to a clearer understanding of his reign in the context of ancient Egyptian history. Pharaoh Anedjib, exploring the enigmatic reign, ascension and consolidation of power. Enedjib's reign marked a crucial period of transition and consolidation of power in ancient Egypt. As the successor of Pharaoh Den, he inherited a kingdom that was still shaping its political and administrative structures. Enedjib's ability to maintain stability and expand his influence during this time demonstrates his early success as a ruler. Architectural contributions. Enedjib left a lasting architectural legacy. He is believed to have continued the construction of the royal necropolis at Abydos, contributing to the establishment of a monumental burial ground for Egypt's early pharaohs. This suggests his dedication to royal rituals and the afterlife, setting a precedent for subsequent pharaohs. Expansion of influence. While the exact extent of Enedjib's territorial conquests is debated, some theories propose that he extended Egypt's influence to the Sinai Peninsula. This potential expansion of control would have had significant economic and strategic implications, further solidifying Egypt's position as a regional power. Cultural developments. Enedjib's reign coincided with a period of cultural and artistic advancement. It was during this time that the use of hieroglyphic writing began to evolve, eventually leading to the development of a sophisticated script used by subsequent pharaohs. Enedjib's reign witnessed the early stages of this remarkable cultural transformation. Contributions to royal titulary. Pharaoh Anedjib made notable contributions to the royal titulary, the collection of names and titles used by ancient Egyptian kings. His reign saw the introduction of distinctive elements in the titulary, which would become prominent features in the names of future pharaohs. Enedjib's influence on the royal titulary demonstrates his significance in shaping the symbolic and ceremonial aspects of Egyptian kingship. Early pyramid development. Pharaoh Enedjib's reign witnessed advancements in pyramid construction, contributing to the development of the iconic pyramid structures that would come to symbolize ancient Egypt. While the exact nature and scale of his pyramid constructions are uncertain, Enedjib's reign marked an important step in the evolution of royal funerary architecture, paving the way for the magnificent pyramids that would be built in the subsequent dynasties. Religious and ritual significance. Enedjib's reign saw a continued emphasis on religious and ritual practices. As a pharaoh, he held a crucial role in the religious sphere, acting as an intermediary between the divine and mortal realms. Enedjib's dedication to upholding and advancing religious traditions reinforced the spiritual beliefs of his subjects and ensured the continuity of religious ceremonies and rituals that were integral to Egyptian society. Social and economic developments. Although details are scarce, Enedjib's reign likely witnessed advancements in social and economic spheres. The stable governance and expansion of influence during his rule would have facilitated trade networks, fostering economic growth and prosperity. The pharaoh's ability to maintain social order and provide stability would have contributed to the well-being of the Egyptian people, laying the groundwork for further social and economic developments in subsequent reigns. Legacy and influence. Pharaoh Anedjib's reign may have had a lasting impact on the subsequent rulers of Egypt. His contributions to architecture, cultural developments, religious practices, and royal titulary would have influenced the political and cultural landscape for generations to come. Enedjib's reign acted as a foundation upon which future pharaohs built their legacies, leaving an indelible mark on the rich history of ancient Egypt. The exact date of Pharaoh Anedjib's death is not known with certainty due to the limited available historical records from the early dynastic period of ancient Egypt. The specific details surrounding his death, including the cause and circumstances, are not recorded in the surviving sources. As mentioned earlier, Enedjib is believed to have ruled during the First Dynasty of Egypt, which is estimated to have occurred around the 29th century BCE. However, within that broader time frame, the precise dates of individual pharaohs, including Enedjib, remain uncertain. The lack of specific information about Enedjib's death is characteristic of the early dynastic period, where historical records are fragmentary and often focused on the pharaoh's reign rather than their personal life or death. It is worth noting that ongoing research, new archaeological discoveries, and advancements in understanding the early dynastic period may contribute to a clearer understanding of Pharaoh Anedjib's death in the future. The location and specific details of Pharaoh Anedjib's tomb are unknown. No conclusive evidence or inscriptions have been discovered to definitively identify his burial place. The early dynastic period of ancient Egypt, during which Enedjib ruled, was characterized by various burial practices and structures. The pharaohs of this period were interred in tombs that ranged from simple pit graves to more elaborate subterranean chambers. The locations of these tombs are often difficult to determine due to factors such as erosion, subsequent construction, and looting over thousands of years. Enedjib's tomb remains undiscovered, adding to the mystery surrounding his reign and the fate of his final resting place. The absence of concrete information regarding his tomb limits our understanding of his funerary practices and the treasures that may have been buried with him. Archaeologists and Egyptologists continue to explore and excavate sites throughout Egypt, hoping to uncover new evidence that could potentially shed light on the location and nature of Enedjib's tomb. These ongoing efforts contribute to our evolving understanding of the early dynastic period and the pharaohs who ruled during that time. Pharaoh Anedjib, despite the limited information available, played a significant role in the early stages of ancient Egypt's development. His achievements in pyramid construction, religious practices, cultural advancements, and influence on subsequent pharaohs demonstrate his importance in shaping the trajectory of Egyptian civilization. While the specifics of his reign remain elusive, Enedjib's contributions laid the groundwork for the grandeur and magnificence that would define ancient Egypt in the centuries to come. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the accomplishments of Pharaoh Anedjib. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more captivating insights into the wonders of ancient history. Thanks for watching.